Hey kids, it's me, Ninja Booth Baby Tony, here to talk to you about fast and crappy reviews and what it means for you.
Hey guys, it's Sophia with Kamikaze Kiwi, and with me as always is Ninja and Booth Baby Tony.
Hi.
And we just saw Spider-Man Homecoming.
Coming home.
We get what you did there, Marvel. It's not like super clever, but you know, you can't win them all, right?
Like the dance, right?
Alright, let's swing into action with our pros.
Nice, I like that. Alright, the first one is that this new Spider-Man is a very realistic and an amateur Spider-Man. He doesn't feel like a invincible superhero. He feels like he can get hurt, and it's very suspenseful. They're going to make him feel very human in the superhero movie.
Well, for me, it's not necessarily that he's human, but that he's still getting his grips with stuff. He clearly knows how to use his powers, or rather, he's grown accustomed to his powers, and kind of what he's had before with his kind of makeshift suit and stuff. But now that he has all this tech to go along with it, and kind of this ability to excel in a way that he hasn't had before, he doesn't quite know how to use that, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, also, he's like a menace to society. Like
he actually creates problems. Like, he actually does like collateral damage, and whenever you hear, you know, that whole thing about, hey, Spider-Man's a menace and he dirties up the city and all that, he actually kind of does that because he doesn't quite know how to minimize that collateral damage yet. So that's cool. A lot of the acting was really good. I actually really liked, oh no, the bad guy,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Oh no, got him one. I actually thought he did an excellent job. It's nice to know that he's still, you know, acting in his...
Still got it.
Still got that. But a lot of the acting was a lot more natural. You know, sometimes we get this whole thing like with Will Smith, you're like, oh yeah, that's Will Smith being Will Smith at his Will Smithiest. And we love that, but that's not, you know, necessarily what you always want to go for. And here, I didn't feel like we had a lot of that. I felt like everyone acted in a way that made me interested in the character, not necessarily the actor. So.
Also, this villain, speaking of the villain, was like the best villain we've had in any Marvel movie, period.
Yep.
He's not just a crazy psychopath.
He's not evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah, he doesn't like just become evil halfway through the movie for no real reason. Like, he has a reason for being evil. It's a very human reason. We can see how maybe we would do that too if we went down that same path, and that makes it even more interesting to see like his like kind of weird reasoning that like is skewed and like, oh, this is why I did this, and like, yeah, I guess it's terrible, but I mean, I can see how you did it.
Well, and part of that too is I didn't feel like a lot of times, especially with movies that aren't necessarily about the villain, so like whenever you're doing like the Avengers or Civil War or whatever, it's about the Avengers. It's about Iron Man and Captain America and how they're just butting heads or whatever. Here, you didn't have that, so the villain was able to develop in a way that was a lot more natural and definitely had like a lot more layers and kind of tones to him. But also, it was one of those things where there weren't any shortcuts. They didn't take any sort of theatrical shortcuts or visual cue shortcuts or anything like that. They just told you the story, and they're like, this is what happened, this is why it happened, this is how it progressed, this is where we're at now. Like, it very much just kind of laid it out for you, which you don't always see, particularly in Marvel movies either.
Also, the villain's terrifying, especially two Spider-Man. Like, he will hurt you, and he wants to hurt you.
I will say that if y'all watch the trailers, the trailer does not do it justice.
No.
The trailer makes it seem like just a bad guy to be a bad guy, and that's not.
Nope.
That's not it at all. There are quite a few cameos that are pretty stinking funny, but also the nods to other cameos or like other superheroes are pretty stinking good.
What do you call those? Hanukkah menorahs. Thanksgiving turkey. Easter eggs. There we go.
That's it.
Guys.
That's it. You know, because it's a time of giving and chocolate and fertility. Sure. So, it's because you go on an Easter egg hunt. You gotta find the colorful fun stuff that's filled with little treats and goodies. And also, if you leave in the yard, will either melt or make it smell.
Alright, next one. The movie is set very well. The scene is set very well. Not only in the timeline, but who is Peter Parker in this universe. I feel like they said it really interesting in that there is stuff going above Peter Parker's head that he doesn't really know about.
Yeah.
And so they don't really tell you that in the movie. So you kind of feel like you're in the same space as
Peter Parker,
as Spider-Man, like just trying to do his best in being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, as opposed to being an Avenger, knowing everything and having to deal with all the problems of everyone.
My biggest pro is that this is not an origin story. It's not an origin story, and there is no Uncle Ben. I mean, and that's kind of, listen, we all know, okay? We all know how Spider-Man got his powers. And if you don't, there's like a sentence about it super fast, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's just, in general, the whole thing, the whole basis is kind of set, and you can tell that they definitely updated it. They definitely modernized it a little bit more for today's audiences, because like Peter Parker actually looks like a kid and does an excellent job. There are other times where, you know, you can see where he's conflicted or what have you, like his character ought to be. He's not just excited about having his powers, like he does take the idea that like he has a responsibility, but more importantly, it's an instinct for him to do stuff. And that's all very, very interesting, because he is supposed to be young and he is supposed to be kind of this whiny kind of crybaby, but they did it in a way that made me not hate him, because normally Spider-Man is like a big man-child and I hate him. I know I'm a terrible person, I'm a huge Marvel fangirl, and of course I'm going to see anything that Marvel puts out, but like I, at any given moment, wish I could punch Spider-Man in the face.
So she is the one person that doesn't like Spider-Man.
The one person in the whole universe. No, we took 2 friends with us and they don't care for Spider-Man either, so I feel vindicated.
Alright, this is our last pro. They had a very diverse cast in this movie, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know, in the 90s they had a diverse cast, but it was like, here's the white person, and here's the Asian person, and here's the black person.
The Black Ranger,
like,
here's the Yellow Ranger.
Check all those boxes. There's a girl here, check that box.
Check.
See, now no one can get mad at us that we put diversity. Instead, it felt like there was just an array of people of all different types, and they were all just different.
A fair representation of actual people and society.
I don't know if it's fair, but it was definitely not
fair
just
for
like
Hollywood.
White people.
That was weird. It got weird there for a second. It definitely was a little bit more diverse. I would like to take like 2 seconds. I know he said pro, but I just want to take like a few seconds to talk about the fact that a lot of the things that they are doing in this movie are definitely a lot more updated, but also the way that they are approaching teenagerism and what that means, and how every single person on the team was probably a teenager once. Like, that's a thing, and they do it pretty well. And they did it without making it a high school movie or I don't know, a teen melodrama. There's no One Tree Hill BS here. There's no, I don't know, there's no Smallville nonsense. Like, it's just, I think it was handled pretty well. And they made it so that those things and those changes, because they did make some pretty major changes. They made them in a way that benefited the story. Because a lot of times they make changes for the sake of making changes, and they go like off the origin farm. Yeah, reservation, but I don't want to put reservation. They tend to go really far from the origin material, and that's fine if you can pull it off. But they did it for very specific reasons in this, and it actually paid off. Cons. I said this in the Civil War movie, I believe. If I didn't say it, I felt it. And I feel it now. Does he have Spidey sense? Because they talk about it a little bit in Civil War, because he talks about how the goggles help, like, focus him and, like, minimize his senses, but I don't see it a lot. And maybe they're trying to, like, minimize that because that's something that maybe he gains. You know, like, the whole knowing your surroundings is kind of maybe like a higher level tactic, and maybe Spidey sense helps with that significantly, and so that's the reason why he hasn't had to learn it yet, and he will have to get there. But they ignore it. Like, they just ignore it. It doesn't exist at all, and that is particularly frustrating for me because I think it's such an interesting part of his character, and honestly, it's a really interesting power. They kind of talk about it a little bit in Civil War because he, I believe he dodges something that's being thrown at him or whatever.
It's a Falcon. No, he gets hit by that. Oh.
There's something, it's the Falcon, or it's whenever he's with the Falcon and Winter Soldier. But then it just never is talked about again. And here, I didn't really see it. Obviously, this is the first time I've seen this movie, so maybe it's in there, a little bit more hidden, and I didn't notice it. But I was disappointed that wasn't in there because it's actually a really cool power.
Alright, now it's my turn. This is my one con. It's more of a nitpick than a con. Marvel movies are very good at sound, and they use sound to denote different characters. And the sound in this movie was, fine. I don't really care for the sound. And the music was good. Here's the thing. The composer is Michael Giacchino. He is excellent. He did the music for the new Star Trek trilogy. And that, like, is an amazing theme song for Star Trek and wonderful music. But it's good, but like, it's no Star Trek. Oh, boy.
Well, and also, I mean, the thing is, especially from him, you expect, because he's so good at taking themes that already exist, or, I guess, recognizable tunes, and, like, kind of mushing them in with new musical elements, and he did, I mean, you hear the Spider-Man theme kind of trickled throughout it.
The 1960s musical,
yeah. You hear the, you do hear the Marvel theme, which is a real thing. Okay, go watch them all. It's very triumphant and awesome.
That's the Avengers theme.
Well, the Avengers theme, yeah.
And also, like, the theme of the movie, the Spider-Man theme, is more like the original Spider-Man theme in that, like, it's not very melodic. You're not, like, humming it when you come out of the theater.
Yeah.
It's more like, I don't know, it's atmospheric or dirge-like. It's not like a melody that you hum.
And that's, he's so good at that it was disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Like, you could probably hum the Star Trek one right now.
This is what people come to our videos for.
This is my life. This is her life.
This is my life. I have to deal with
singing
theme songs and melodic patterns and all sorts of stuff. My other con is that whenever they try to handle you're a child and children don't know things and you'll understand when you're older part, it's not good. It doesn't make sense because all the things that they're saying, you don't get it because you're a kid, he gets it. Like, he's not doing anything that is particularly childish. In fact, most of the things that he does do that would be considered childish is usually just a general lack of communication. And I hate to say that that's not childish, that's human-ish. Like, that's just a thing. And so, whenever they really try to, like, ride into or hit home on this whole, like, you don't get it because you're a kid, like, don't you feel like you're just a stupid 15-year-old sometimes and you'll never understand until you're a real superhero? Like, it doesn't quite hit the mark. Like, it just feels a little off to me. And I know you're done with your con, but I have one. This is me.
Sophia corner now.
The other con that I have, I like the Avengers stuff that's included, sort of. While it does a decent job of, like, placing Spider-Man in the universe and, like, very solidly showing where this movie, this time, this thought process lies, it kind of felt like a bunch of like extended Easter eggs or extended like end scenes, or I don't know. Like it felt pushed upon me, I guess. It was all just this wonderful prelude to like, look, aren't you excited for the next time that all the guys get together? Oh my gosh, look, the Avengers still exist. We know how important that is. Don't worry, you're gonna get all your Spider-Man toys, but we're definitely gonna sell Captain America and Iron Man at the same time, and that way you get the whole collection of pew pew pew. And I don't like that. I felt, and this was one of my concerns if you listen to my Five on Friday, I was worried that they were going to do a thing where like RDJ or like all the guest appearances would save the movie, like they would use that to try and like push this movie through. And while they didn't do that, there's still clearly points where I'm just like, that was there just for the sake of everyone to be like, oh my gosh, look at that! Oh my, did you see? Oh my gosh, blah blah blah. I'm sorry, like I can only fangirl so hard.
Quick counter argument. It has been a long time since I've been excited about Spider-Man.
That's true. That's true. It's been a long time since anyone's been excited about Spider-Man. And honestly, I think a lot of negative feelings that I have because I don't like Spider-Man anyways. Like I do, but I don't. I understand his place. But it's difficult whenever you have like a million Spider-Man movies and they probably got this one pretty spot on. But you still have all those past just pain and heartache looming over you. Maybe that's the biggest con. The biggest con is that they made too many Spider-Man movies before this one. Fast questions, and we're actually going to try and keep them fast.
Yes.
Alright. Origin story, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, actually. And they didn't shove it down our throats. Music / sound design, yes or no? Love story, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, it was very much appropriate and not disgusting.
True.
Do the pros outweigh the cons?
Mm-hmm.
Enough to see in theaters?
Yes.
Enough to see in theaters more than once?
I want to.
Enough to see in 3D?
That's a personal choice. I can't.
It's a personal choice. Listen, I know y'all care about 3D, but we'll bar for Romy.
Not I.
We'll not. Tony doesn't have a problem with that. I have a problem with it. The spindy, sparkly, I can't do that. So now that was under a minute.
Dude,
we actually
did it.
We did it, guys. We did it. Okay, guys, but seriously, I can't tell you.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm so scared right now.
What happens? But Chris Evans is in this movie. It is
So good.
so good
It's the best.
because it's exactly what Steve Rogers / Captain America would be doing. Like, it's something that he would just do.
Circle. The circle is unbroken.
It's pretty perfect. It's pretty hilarious.
And beautiful.
It is by far one of the things that I laughed at most.
Like when you see a bird, like first fly away from its nest as a baby bird. That's the way this is. How beautiful that is.
It's not beautiful.
Not
It's
too
not.
far? Okay,
It's not.
sorry.
It's okay, sweetie. I know that you think Chris Evans is beautiful, but you know, like, it's just so perfect, and it's so goofy and wonderful. And I just need to take a moment to thank, of course, RDJ. Thank you. You're beautiful. Please, me and everything. He's just so charming. Chris Evans, shoulders, and all of you, including your mind. You're a beautiful person. You're a goofaloof, and I adore it. And all of these little things that are in there, like, add to the wonderful amount of just like almost like bonus content that they crammed in here. And I can't wait to see it again because I know I'm gonna find more stuff. And they're getting really, really good at putting Easter egg stuff in a way that is goofy and funny and relatable.
And self-referential too.
Yeah, so yeah, and honestly too, like the other thing is you don't have to be a huge nerd to figure these things out or see them or laugh at them, like, because that's one thing that kind of bothered me is that at the very beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, you had to be super nerd 501 that went onto the forum and was like, and issue 302 of the Invincible Iron Man or whatever.
It's getting too real for me.
I'm serious. Like, you start having panic attacks about it because, like, I'm sorry, being a fan is one thing, but being like to the point where it's detrimental to the fan base, that's not good. And they're getting to the point now that they're just being really clever with it, and I really appreciate that because I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I've read every issue. I don't know why. That's real rude to nerds. I'm sorry. If you have like a deviated septum or something, or glasses, or some combination of both, I'm so sorry. And if you read comics too, I'm so sorry. But if you do all that and you don't bathe, you're an idiot. Okay? I'll buy you the Pikachu soap. Go wash, you filthy animal. But assuming this gets derailed real quickly all the time.
Fast.
Okay.
Wow. Let's just go.
But they're very, very cool about it, and I would actually love if you could leave in the comments down below what your favorite kind of like Easter egg or goof moment was. Mine actually comes in the song section of the credits, and I can't tell you what it is, but you'll notice it. Hopefully, maybe. Go find it. Hey guys, so I know you can't see anything because that would require like actual camera setups and stuff, but
it is I, Dracula.
Nope, that's Ninja and Boothbait Donnie. Behind us we have Sean and Danielle, and they don't realize that they are going to be in the video for a whole 20 seconds. But we're just leaving the theater, and real talk, guys, real spoopy talk, because we're in the dark.
Universe is coming.
No, don't stop it.
Okay.
But real talk, go see it. Just okay, and just stay. Just stay. Don't make me rant again.
Oh, please stay.
Please stay. Okay, that's it. Bye.